Welcome to Voodoo Whiskey Gaming, and this is my late review of Tony Hawk's 3 and 4 Remastered. I played it on the PS5, it's also available on the PS4, Xbox Series, Xbox One, Nintendo Switch 2, and PC. So first of all, there is no story that game really in the following games, but basically you pick a pro skater that you like or you create your own skater and you go level by level and you just kind of do the stuff there. There are some goofy challenges that are not really story, but there's reasoning. So yeah, nothing to judge there, but let's move on to the audio. And the first thing I'm gonna say is the soundtrack. They brought back a bunch of the songs that you love from the original 3 and 4, but they also added some newer songs, and quite frankly, the newer songs just don't fit as well. They just don't hit the vibe the same, and maybe that's the nostalgia talking. But there were some absolutely shit songs. And honestly, some of the original songs weren't as good as, say, you know, the ones in Tony Hawk 1 and 2. But I definitely felt like the modern songs just didn't match the vibe. As for the voiceover work, there isn't really a lot of voiceover work for the skaters that you play as. There is some voiceover work for the NPCs around the world, and it's fine for what it is. It's not award-winning, it doesn't need to be, because they're just NPCs that you're riding by and hearing a line from, or vaguely interacting with when you knock their banner down or something along those lines. And then you've got the sound effects, which I think they're good, they work, they're satisfying. When you complete an objective, that sound effect hits. When you go over a gap, that sound effect hits. Things like those, they're satisfying, they feel good. As for the sound of the skateboard, it could be better, because you skateboard over a variety of terrains, whether it's bricks, asphalt, cement, things like those. And there's really no difference in those sound effects, which there is in real life, and I think they could have put that effort in. The sound effects work well enough for an arcadey game, but they could have done more. So let's get on to the gameplay mechanics and whatnot, and it's a Tony Hawk game. It's a skateboarding game. It's a very arcadey skateboarding game. You go level by level, each one has their own objectives. All of them have similar objectives, but then you have the different ones based on the level, like one of them you need to start an earthquake, because it's LA basically. When you're on a college campus, you need to knock down some dude's banner and mess with the frat guys because they're dicks. Like, those objectives change from level to level. There's always a trick you need to do that changes from level to level, but overall, it feels kind of same. And I've gotta say, like, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4 is when that really started to wear thin, unfortunately, and you feel it here as well. When I was playing number 3, I was like, okay, I remember this. Oh, this really sticks in my brain. When I was playing 4, and maybe it's because the nostalgia just isn't there, I was far less inspired. And honestly, I kind of remember that from when the originals came out. By the time 4 came out, there were other games coming out. It wasn't the best thing. That was when we were getting more and more games. And Tony Hawk's 4 just felt, like I said, very same. And even replaying it now, while I just didn't remember half the levels, more than half the levels, I really didn't remember like any of those levels. Whereas at least with Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3, I still remembered a bunch of those levels, so it came back to me and it gave me that hit in the nostalgia that you kind of want from something like this. Whereas Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4 just never quite gave you that. Now that being said, there is replayability, but it is somewhat limited. To unlock the different skate videos, there's just a single challenge you need to complete with each of them. And a lot of them, it's, hey, use this special trick in a combo that is 250,000 points. So yeah, you can go through, unlock all the different clothes, unlock all the different videos, all of that, and that's there, and that is kind of cool, but it's also kind of limited at the same time. There's 18 levels. Some of them are the competitions where you gotta score the highest in 3 runs, and then there's all the regular levels that I kind of described. Let's get on to the controls, and I didn't really think they worked that great. I actually had a lot of trouble triggering a lot of the special moves. I'd be trying to do a combo and I would have mapped the controls the way I wanted it to, and then it still wouldn't trigger them. It got actually pretty frustrating at times. And maybe that was me, but I feel like it was easier in the previous game and it was easier in the original games than this. It did actually feel like the controls weren't always responding. So that's kind of frustrating in a game like this. But then finally, the graphics and visuals, and the style is there. You definitely feel that style, and some of the maps have better designs than others. But graphically, this doesn't really stand out. Yes, it looks far better than, you know, the original 3 and 4, but they could have done so much more with remastering this. I do think some of the animations are actually pretty impressive if you pay attention. Like some of the foot movement, foot placement is actually pretty well done. It's not as well done as other games. I do enjoy a lot of the levels. I did feel, like I said though, in 4, the design and the layout wasn't as good as in 3. But I do feel like they stuck with the idea and the vibes. They just didn't do as good of a job creating any of the levels in 4. 3 is the one that stands out of these two because the levels are better laid out. They are much more memorable. And then 4 gets kind of lost. And even now, I can really only think of one of the levels in 4, despite the fact I just beat it. I do like the variety of skaters and that they did a really good job capturing their styles. But I just think there's so much more that they could have done, and they just didn't from a visual standpoint. But let's just get into the wrap up. And to put it simply, the remaster of 1 and 2 stands out way more than this, and that's also because at the end of the day, the original 1 and 2 stood out way more than 3 and 4, and that continues here. Like, is it an absolute pile of shit? No, but I would recommend playing the remaster of 1 and 2 over 3 and 4 any day of the week. Really, I'm just waiting for a remaster of Tony Hawk's Underground. I think that was a far superior game than 3 and 4, and it really kind of brought some life back into the franchise. So do I recommend it? Not really, maybe at sale price, but that's about as good as I can get. Okay, so in the comments down below, why don't you tell me, what is your favorite skate video of all times? Do you have one? For me, it's either Rodney Mullen versus Daewon Song Round 2 or Misled Youth. And as always, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please hit that like button. And if you like what I'm doing in general, share and subscribe. Have a good one.